Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the controversial Alaska summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, a meeting that, as you'll see, really challenged the world's approach to the war in Ukraine. So let's just jump right in. This single headline really captured the firestorm around the summit. So you have to ask, what on earth happened in Alaska to provoke a reaction this strong? All right, so let's get right into it and unpack the claims that are sitting just behind this stunning headline. Okay, so the summit itself was held at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage. And this location was no accident. It offered top-tier security, and it was pretty symbolic. American soil, but just a short hop from Russia. Next up, let's talk about the red carpet. Because before a single word was even spoken, the visuals of this meeting were already sending a really powerful message. So the very first thing that observers keyed in on were the optics. Putin got the full red carpet treatment, which for many was a symbol of restored legitimacy, a kind of diplomatic warmth that we just haven't seen since the 2022 invasion. Now, on the flip side, the summit's organizers defended this. They argued it was just standard diplomatic protocol and that it was a necessary step to create a serious environment for these kinds of essential, high-stakes negotiations. And that really brings us to the heart of the controversy, a fundamental shift in the American negotiating position that critics say played directly into Putin's hands. So here's the central shift, right? For a long time, the U.S. had demanded an immediate ceasefire. That was replaced with a new goal, negotiating a longer-term, broader peace agreement. Now, proponents of this move argued it was just being pragmatic. They believed that demanding an immediate ceasefire was basically a dead end that had stalled all the previous talks. Their goal, they said, was to break the diplomatic stalemate and open up some kind of pathway to de-escalation. But this change in language was immediately seen by critics as a huge concession. They argued that by dropping that demand for an immediate ceasefire, the U.S. was giving Russia exactly what it wanted: more time to keep its military offensives going. So, after the summit, Trump reportedly related Putin's offer to Ukraine's President Zelensky. And here's what it was: freeze the current front lines. But, and it's a big but, only if Ukraine officially cedes control of Donetsk. Zelensky's response? It was a firm, immediate no. So, as you can imagine, this diplomatic pivot, combined with the lack of any real agreement to stop the fighting, triggered a pretty swift and powerful wave of international criticism, especially from key U.S. allies. And yeah, the reaction from European allies? It was fast and it was blunt. Leaders and analysts quickly condemned the summit as a diplomatic failure, saying it would only embolden Russia and really chip away at the support for Ukraine. The main argument from critics was basically this: postponing a ceasefire wasn't just a failure to act. No, it was seen as actively rewarding aggression by taking away all the pressure on Russia to stop its offensive. And the fear among allies, it went beyond just Ukraine. It was about setting a dangerous new precedent for how the world responds to military aggression, not just here, but everywhere. So after all that, where does this leave U.S. foreign policy? Well, the analysis that followed showed a country really standing at a diplomatic crossroads, facing a pretty stark choice. From what the sources said, it really boils down to two very different paths forward. Path 1, double down and reaffirm support for Ukraine with concrete aid, strengthening those existing alliances. Or Path 2, continue with this new strategy of direct, high-level diplomatic talks, trying to hammer out some kind of negotiated end to the conflict.
Ultimately, the Alaska summit leaves us with some fundamental questions about the future of global alliances. So, when the dust settles, what's the legacy of this summit going to be? Will it be remembered as just a failed concession, or are we looking at the start of a new and pretty unsettling chapter in diplomacy?